Not that often, really, that Toronto is mentioned internationally, but you go to the international press now and they are mentioning the City of Toronto and the Mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, and his brother, Doug Ford, who's a Toronto City Councillor. If you don't know what's going on, where have you been? Councillor Doug Ford, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me on today, Michael.
I mean, I have to say that, you know, I know you, and you said you'd always come on the show, and we booked you, and then people said, it won't happen, it won't happen, it won't happen. Not because they didn't trust you, because they assumed there's so much going on, and also that you simply wouldn't want to address the issues. Let me be quite direct. The allegations that have been made about you in the Globe and Mail, they've said that you were dealing drugs. I don't care if you smoked cannabis as a teenager. I mean, frankly, who didn't at our sort of age? But they say you were dealing drugs when you were a young man. It was a long time ago. They've got no absolute proof. But is it true?
No, 100% not. It's uncorroborated, so-called unnamed sources. They called over 200 people over a 2-year period. They went back 30 years ago when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. As I've said, did I smoke marijuana? I did smoke marijuana, and that's about as far as it went. And it's disturbing. I can handle this, Michael. It's tough on my 4 girls. You must have kids the same age as mine, because I remember we played soccer at one time. That's the most hurtful thing, and I have to explain to my girls the reason I'm doing this. They're telling me just to leave, and you don't need this, Dad. But I made a commitment to the people, and I'm going to fulfill that commitment and continue working hard. And they want to go after Rob and I personally because they can't go after our platform. They can't go after our achievements because it's good. We've saved the taxpayers $1 billion. The only government in Canada to do that. So
I just want to make it totally clear. The idea that a teenager smoke cannabis is not an issue for many people, anyone today. You did not in any way deal drugs as a young man, as a teenager.
100%. Okay. I did not. There was on our talk show we have on 1010, I guess a detective in the drug squad from the time period they were saying he ran the drug squad, worked with the RCMP, the Ontario Police, called in. I never spoke to him ever before in my life. He said, your name has never come up. Julian Fantino in Ottawa said the same thing when he was on the police force. Again, this is an attack against our family, against our character. And at another show, if they want to talk about our family's character, my character, I'll sit here for 2 hours and talk about it.
Are you going to sue them?
You know, it's not off the table. We're in constant contact with our lawyers. I'll tell you about that. And a lot of people say, if you don't sue them, you're guilty. Well, we've sued 3 times. We've spent $1 million our family spent $1 million for taxes. I always say the bills are still coming in. Rob was proven innocent on all 3 areas. And I could do this. You'll be dragged through the mud for 3 years to 5 years. You'll spend $2 to $3 million. And I'm up against the Thompson family that has $30 billion. That will, our lawyer said they'll wear you down, tear you apart, and do everything you can.
It's a fair point. I mean, having worked for Sun News and Astral and so on, you have a lot of lawyers on staff, and I do understand that point. I think it's fair. I'm not going to ask you to speak for your brother directly, but I will. It has to be discussed because you have spoken for him.
Yes.
The photo itself, taken from a video, your brother has said there is no video. You stand by that?
Well, until they show us the video, as far as I'm concerned, there is no video. If they can come up with a video, well, come up with a video. But as of right now, they aren't coming up with a video.
Right. Now, he said that the photograph, and he made a point that I get my photograph taken with lots of people. That's entirely fair. Even someone like me, I have photos taken with people, and who am I? As a mayor, thousands of people want your photo taken. This happened to Mel Lastman at times. But the photo's a bit more than that. If the photo is true, it looks like a very familiar, affectionate pose with 2 people who are unsavory characters. A forged photograph, that isn't Rob in the photograph?
No, you know something, that photograph, that's Rob. As Rob said, you know, he's taken thousands of pictures with young black youth. Thousands of pictures with black youth with their hat on sideways, making their little signals and everything. So that could have been taken anywhere. He works with youth constantly, and he helps youth out. So I had a few councillors call me up and say, well, he took a photograph with a couple of black youth. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. Because they're black? You know, is that the problem? How about if they were Chinese or Indian? You know, I don't think that's right.
No, that isn't, but there are also allegations that his voice is heard and that he makes a couple of comments, and some people say it's his voice. And I've read what the comments are meant to me. I don't find them particularly disturbing, but they're inappropriate, certainly.
If, again, they're allegations that they're saying. So, again, where's this tape? Yeah. They're going after the mayor, and they won't stop. Right. We've upset the apple cart down at City Hall. We've pulled their hands out of the cookie jar. We're the only two elected officials that went down there and made changes, and they don't like the changes. You know, I've been around long enough. I know things about people in public life, politicians, that are quite disturbing, and they're never going to make the media. I also know that there's a culture of snobbery and elitism amongst Toronto media. They've always disliked you, particularly your brother. They didn't like him as a councillor. They were incredulous when he said he was standing for mayor. They were convinced he wouldn't win. George Smitherman was their boy. When Smitherman lost so badly, they were angry. They used any means necessary to get at you. I understand all of that, and I detest it. But sometimes the mayor has opened the door and said, here I am, throw things at me. I agree. At the hockey game when he said, no incident happened, I wasn't even there, and he was there. I mean, this is problematic for your defenders. No, I agree. Rob is no angel. You know, he's unique, to say the least. But he's there for the people, and I'm there for the people. Right. And there's a lot of politicians, they're phony and they're fake, and they come on and they're self-serving, and they always they want to make the deals with their buddies. Well, we've stopped that, and what you see is what you get. And you know, again, we're down there for the people, and that's it. What about his staff? There's 3 people now. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, and some of the optics are very disturbing. When people are escorted out of a building, well, that's generally people are escorted out when the job is finished. But there are journalists who are now arguing that at least the chief of staff, he was the good guy, and he left because he thought there was a question of integrity, and so he abandoned out of character. How do you respond to that? Well, I don't want to get into personnel issues. I think Mark's a great guy. He was with us from day one. Like I've said, being a chief of staff in the mayor's office is like dog years. So you're there for 18 months. The 2 other chiefs of staff, Nick Cavalis, we talk to almost on a daily basis. Amir Ramtula is over at the Pan Am Games, talk to him on a daily basis. And sometimes you get worn down, worn out, exhausted, and time to move on. But the mayor's not moving on, he's staying, and he will run again? Absolutely, he's going to run again, and we're going to run on our platform. And we want them to come after our platform. Don't come after my family. They've followed my mother around, my kids around. They staked their cottage out. It's relentless. They were banging down our door at 5:30 in the morning. It's unprecedented in Canadian politics. Right. You've ever seen anything like it? Just as we end the interview, just to recap, you've admitted you smoke cannabis. It's not an issue anymore. When you were a kid, you never dealt drugs. That's correct. You've never seen the video. As far as you know, there is no video. That's correct. The photograph is completely innocuous. It's the mayor of Toronto with a couple of kids he's being friendly with. You stand by all of that. That's correct, 100%. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. Take care.